Another loaded show coming your way here on Philadelphia Eagles Now, no matter where you are or how you're tuned. And as always, appreciate all of you for watching Eagles Now, especially during this holiday season. And because of you watching, just want to say a quick thank you to everybody for helping get this channel past 38,000 subscribers. For a guy who grew up in the Westchester area, rooting on this football team, to be able to grow it this season like we have, it's been an absolute blast. And for those of you who aren't subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button for informative, entertaining news, rumors, analysis, live shows, and watch parties with videos coming your way every single day. As for what we're getting into on today's show, as we look to continue to build the Eagles Now empire, we're going to take a look ahead at the Eagles 2023 free agency class, and then we'll take some of your questions. And of course, with some of the marquee players on this list, we'll have that conversation. Should the Eagles bring him back and pay him, or should they let him walk? A lot of difficult conversations here because this organization right now, they're starting to look ahead already, even though their eyes are on a Super Bowl championship, at what players they want to mortgage the future for, they want to invest capital in. So let's take a look at this free agency class. And like I said, some monster names on this list: Fletcher Cox, Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave, Jason Kelce. When you look at Cox as well as Jason Kelce, two of the most legendary Eagles of all time. And after that trade for Robert Quinn, I think he's going to leave. He's injured right now, and before the injury, he wasn't giving this team anything. Brandon Graham is in that conversation as well. That's bad job on my part. Three of the GOATs on the Mount Rushmore for this franchise in the history of it. And the Eagles have made it be known that their team-building philosophy is really building along the defensive line as well as the offensive line. And in today's pass-happy NFL, it is so vital to get a pass rush on opposing quarterbacks, and the Eagles have been able to do that this year. And Brandon Graham, even though he's getting a little bit older, he's in his mid-30s here. He's been in the league for a really long time. He's having one of the best years of his career. I think he should be in the running for NFL Comeback Player of the Year. 8.5 sacks for him. Hargrave with 10. Fletcher Cox with 6. If you lose a couple of those players, or you lose all three of them, you get gutted with the depth along that defensive line. So I do think it's going to be a priority to bring a Hargrave back. And if you had to choose between Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, maybe you allow Jordan Davis to continue to grow into that role at defensive tackle. You let Cox leave, which of course is a very difficult conversation to have. And then Brandon Graham comes back on maybe a year-by-year basis, because I do think that he can still play. As for another one of the all-time Eagles greats in Jason Kelce, it's crazy that this guy drafted all the way back in 2011. He's been in the league for more than a decade. 6th-round pick. Has ended up just blowing away his value, right? But still at this moment is the best center in the NFL. The numbers back that up. The tape backs it up even further. Overall Pro Football Focus grade, nearly 90 for a guy who's thought about and contemplated retirement over the last couple of years. Pass blocking grade, 82.4. Run blocking grade, nearly 89. League average, by the way, 70. And in 950 total snaps for Jason Kelce, 0 hits and 0 sacks. I hope that he plays as long as he can, but of course, for Jason Kelce, it comes down to keeping his body right. And if his body's shutting down and he's worried about the mental aspect of the rigors of playing football, he might call it quits. Cam Jurgens is waiting in the wings, but this guy is just the best, and I want to continue to see him play in the midnight green. So to show Jason Kelce some love, type 62, his jersey number, down in the comments section. And the next Eagles jersey that I get, can't say a lot of people would like to get an offensive lineman's jersey. Jason Kelce is just different. Mardi Gras at the parade, fantastic. Get those 62s in. More free agents here for Philadelphia, and more big names for Howie Roseman and crew to think about. James Bradberry, 1-year deal, ended up being a massive bargain. Isaac Seumalo, he's one of your starting guards. Andre Dillard will probably walk to be a starting left tackle somewhere, and that's fine. He deserves that. Kyzir White, another good value deal for the Eagles in free agency. TJ Edwards has been one of the highest graded linebackers in the NFL this year. If you could bring him back for an affordable price, and I believe the Eagles will be able to do that, then that will be money worth spent as they finally invest in linebacker. Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph, I doubt that they come back. They're just trying to chase a Super Bowl right now, but you never know. Boston Scott, as an RB3, RB4. You could certainly do worse. Zach Pascal is kind of that gritty wide receiver who you need. Nick Sirianni loves him, so I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back on a cheap deal. And Miles Sanders. Let's talk about Miles Sanders here. First time in his career that the second-round pick out of Penn State has surpassed 1,000 rushing yards. That's a career high by far. Never even really came all that close. And his 11 rushing touchdowns, also a career high. The big conversation for Miles Sanders: do you want to pay a running back, let's say, $8, $10, $12 million? Or do you want to get a cheaper back behind what is still going to be a great offensive line and maybe also draft a running back who will come at a fraction of the price and maybe even be just as good, if not better, than Miles Sanders? I think continuity is really important. If Sanders wants to take a hometown discount, I'd like that as well, but those are the conversations that this front office will have as well. More free agents left to get to here. Rick Lovato, the long snapper, he's been a good long snapper. He's no John Dornbos, the magic man, but Rick Lovato's been good. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, what a trade by Howie Roseman in the lead up to this year. He was so good before he went out with that lacerated kidney. Iosua Opeta, backup offensive lineman, wouldn't rule him returning. Tyree Jackson, he is what he is. Gardner Minshew, he could make some money as a fringe starter or one of the highest paid backups, and the Eagles always like to invest a lot of money into that backup spot. And then Marcus Epps, he's been really good at safety this year for the player that he is. As for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he came into this year having not played a lot of safety. So because of that, he struggled a little bit in coverage. He did play a little bit of that with the New Orleans Saints, but primarily out of that nickel position. But it's his instincts that's really showed up to me on the tape. Pro Football Focus numbers aren't good. The actual numbers pretty solid. Before he went out, he had led the NFL in interceptions. So that goes to show you the instincts that he has as a guy who can kind of play all across the field. I'd love for a guy like that to return because I love the swagger that he brings to this Eagles locker room. So with that, let's ask you this. Which free agent among all those free agents do the Eagles need to sign? I'm going to challenge you to come up with one name here. Which free agent do you need the Eagles to sign? Let us know right now in the comment section. Do you want to start saving money? Do you want to start canceling your subscriptions and you don't want to waste money any longer? Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, will allow you to do just that. And the other week, I got this notification that Apple TV was going to increase their monthly costs, and I was like, shoot, I actually do have an Apple TV subscription. I realized I forgot to cancel it after my free trial ran out over the summer because all I was trying to do at the time was watch the final days of Ptolemy Gray with Samuel L. Jackson. And I pulled up the Rocket Money app. It allowed me to cancel my subscription, and I was able to start saving right away. And it's Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. This is an app that shows you all of your subscriptions in one place and then cancels for you whatever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't know you were paying for, and you may even find out when you log on to the app that you've been double charged for a subscription. And to cancel it, all you have to do is press cancel, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. So get rid of those useless subscriptions. View all of your subscriptions on one screen. Hit that simple cancel button. Optimize your finances by heading to rocketmoney.com/Eagles. Now, it's a free download, but make sure you use our link so that they know that Chat Sports sent you. Let's start taking your questions here on Eagles Now. Nick Stone always bringing the heat. Do you think DeVonta Smith will get the 99 yards he needs to reach 1,000 yards on Saturday? How about a play action pass deep to DeVonta Smith for a splash play to help him get there? Let's do it, Nick Stone. And that would be two wide receivers on this team, both with 1,000 receiving yards. That's pretty uncanny, even in today's pass-happy NFL. Eric with this: I hope we don't re-sign Miles Sanders. I love him, but running back is easy to replace, especially with Hurts at quarterback. I agree with you. I think that running backs are an expendable position, and you can find some really good ones out there for very affordable prices. And if he's asking for $10 million, I think that money can be allocated elsewhere to positions of importance like edge rusher, like defensive tackle, like cornerback, or like safety. So, Eric, you make a good point there. I'm in agreement there. Adam Singleton, one of our Chat Sports MVPs this year, already the winner of our Tennessee Titans guitar from a couple of weeks ago during our watch party. With Jalen's shoulder injury, will that affect what the Eagles' playoff run can look like, even though Minshew will start? So I don't think at least maybe I'm hopeful that this Jalen Hurts injury, I don't think it's going to be all that serious. He finished the game and played really well and didn't have any restrictions in throwing the football. So if he was really hurt, I can understand the adrenaline coming into play, right? But if he was really hurt, he wouldn't be able to chuck the rock. So hopefully this isn't something that lingers. If it does linger, the Eagles' offense is really built around him, and he's an MVP candidate for a reason, then I'll start to get a little bit concerned. Appreciate that, Adam. Izzy B! Get Cam. Sorry, War Damn Eagle. Izzy B, a very big Cam Newton fan. Gardner Minshew so much better, though, Izzy B. And it's pretty telling that the Eagles would rather have Ian Book than Cam Newton at this point. But Izzy B, thank you so much for your donation. You're a real one. Philly Jake, if Gardner Minshew somehow beats the Cowboys, should Jalen play at all until the playoffs? Yes. Yes, he should, Philly Jake, because you think about it, right? 3 games left. Let's say that the Eagles get the number 1 seed, they win the NFC East, and Jalen Hurts misses the rest of the regular season. That's 3 games. Bye week, that's 4 weeks. He wouldn't play again for 5? That would scare the living hell out of me. Why? Because you're counting on a quarterback to lead you to a playoff and Super Bowl run after having not played 5 weeks. There is rust that's bound to happen with accuracy. And 1 turnover, that can change a football game. Jose. Hot take, Jason Peters going to be exposed by our defensive line. He was an Eagles legend. He's probably going to go to Canton and rock that brown jacket as a Hall of Famer, as a Philadelphia Eagle. So his bust will probably have him being an Eagle. He was good for a little while for the Buffalo Bills, but for more than a decade, one of the best left tackles in the game. And he's actually played pretty well, Jose. If the Eagles are able to expose him a little bit, that's good for this defense, no question. Zion, I wish for boys not to make the playoffs because they need to lose every game coming up to not make the playoffs. So if they don't, Eagles win anyway. So I wish for the Eagles to win. So the Cowboys right now have 10 wins. If they lost the rest of their games, 10 wins still might get you in depending on what the Giants and Washington does. Right? So let's take a look at the playoff picture here. You lose the rest of your games, you'd be 10-7. But still, if the Giants and Commanders struggle, as Washington has a really difficult game this weekend against San Francisco, Dallas can still get in that wild card spot. But if they lose out the remainder of their games, I hope it happens because, my goodness, who doesn't love a Cowboys choke job? That's a Christmas present underneath the tree during this time of year. Who you got in this game on Saturday, Christmas Eve? You going with the Cowboys? You going with the Birds? Let us know right now in the comment section. And as always, appreciate all of you for tuning in.